I've wondered if I'll ever amount to much.
I wondered if a gang was my only option.
I've wondered if there's a better life.
Helping children flourish in life goes well beyond the classroom. In the Newark Public Schools, we understand it takes a web of support so that children feel valued, loved, and able to believe in themselves.
Can I concentrate in class if I'm scared?
Are there going to be drugs in my school?
Who will help me if I'm bullied?
At the Newark Public Schools, all staff, guidance counselors, teachers, administrators are here to help. We feel that our children have a right to a safe, healthy, and drug-free environment. A school where all children can learn.
What chance do they have? Any of them?
What we have so far, we have a drive-by shooting, multiple shots fired. No victims now at this time.
Melanie lives in Newark, New Jersey. Clive is from South Central in Los Angeles. They live on opposite sides of the nation, but in some ways, their neighborhoods are the same. There is poverty, violence, drugs, and gangs.
Living out here, you're either expected to join the gang, go to jail, get killed.
And they look at it, well, I don't have my education, so I'm a hustle. Or, a girl, I don't have my education, so I'm a strip. Or, I'm gonna live in Newark forever. I'm gonna live in Housing Authority forever.
Guadalupe was told not to expect much because she is a girl.
A woman only can be in the kitchen and be a mother. If you're not a good cooker, you're not a good mother, you're not worth it as a woman. And well, it was hard for me because my dad was one of those machistas.
Heather is disabled.
Well, I was born totally blind. I have what's called bilateral retinal dysplasia. It basically means that my eyes didn't develop.
The odds were against them. Crime, drugs, gangs, bad grades, dropping out. All of these were real possibilities. Instead, they are all still in school, working hard, getting good grades, and can now see a future for themselves.
Kids we think are doomed simply need a connection to a positive adult, positive experiences, and they need a chance to shine. And they will turn into someone that we've never known before.
Their story is about resilience, about succeeding, about overcoming the odds. How did they do it? In every case, they had to have someone who believed in them.
As I have learned from a great woman. Like, I've learned things that I probably wouldn't have learned by just being out there or just being in the streets or whatever.
But they also have tapped their internal strength.
If God put you in that opportunity, it's because He believes you have the strength. You have what it takes to go there and do the best.
When I fail, I have to try again, or else I'll just be frustrated with myself.
Melanie, Guadalupe, Heather, and Clive. Where other kids see an obstacle, these kids see opportunity. If the work gets hard, they work harder. When others get discouraged, they try again. Experts say, like every child, these kids were born resilient. The difference is they didn't lose that resilience, that ability to overcome hardship. What protected them are 3 words, each beginning with the letter P.
If you come to believe that the bad things in your life are permanent, pervasive, and personal, really, whatever age you are, it's going to render you susceptible to a lot of different psychological problems. Depression, despair, hopelessness.
Permanent, pervasive, personal. More on these words when Overcoming the Odds returns. In the North Ward, Newark, New Jersey, where Melanie Malone lives, there is poverty, crime, drugs, gangs, despair.
I seen drug dealers, I seen crack addicts, I done heard shootouts, I done seen people get locked up for having stolen cars. Even though I'm a young female at the age of 14, I have seen more than some adults have ever seen from where they come from.
She lives with her grandmother in this small apartment. She doesn't talk about her mother and father. She hasn't seen either one in over a year.
It's kind of hard thinking about, well, where's mommy and where's daddy and who's there, and is something gonna happen to me? Is something gonna happen to my sisters?
For kids like Melanie to succeed, they need help. They can't overcome hardships all by themselves.
We kind of think of resilience as a within-person phenomenon, but down the road we may start thinking of resilience really as a between-person phenomenon. Because no one really travels from a difficult childhood to a successful adulthood alone.
There's a new field of research called positive psychology that explores how adults, especially parents, can control 3 critical words in a child's life.
If we learn that bad things that are happening to us, the adversities that we have to endure, if we come to believe that those adversities are permanent, in other words, they'll never end, and that they're pervasive, they're not just bad here, they're bad here. They're not just bad at home, they're bad at school. And that they're personal. They're bad because of me. If we come to believe that adversities are permanent, pervasive, and personal, that really renders us susceptible to a lot of bad things, a lot of potential psychological problems, depression, despair, hopelessness. We're more likely to give up.
For Melanie, the problem was that third P, personal. She used to believe the poverty and hopelessness of her neighborhood was who she was, who she would always be.
When I was younger, I used to think about it like, wow, this is where I live, this is what I'm gonna do. Because they say, you are where you come from. Well, you're from Newark, and ain't nothing gonna change about you. Your attitude stinks because where you're from.
For fighting and cursing, Melanie was sent to a counselor at her middle school, Brenda Hoffler Battle.
When I first met Melody, she had a terrible attitude. She knew it all. She would talk back. She knew how to say some choice words. She wanted to fight at the drop of a hat.
Still, Brenda saw something in Melanie, intelligence, a spark of curiosity, some potential.
I think all teachers have a personality that when they see certain children, something just clicks. And that's what happened with us. It just clicked.
Our children have to overcome many obstacles, and the fact of the matter is they need us to pull the best out of them.
At the start of the 7th grade, Melanie and Brenda started spending time together, talking about school, classmates, their families, about life. And over time, in Melanie's mind, an idea began to take shape. It was simple enough. If Brenda can succeed, maybe I can too.
She grew up in Newark and came back to Newark to teach and to help us learn that we can get out of Newark and do other things with our life. She showed me ways of life. She showed me what the things I used to do, where it could get me. I have changed, and because I was taught the right way for the last couple of years, that I know what right from wrong.
Brenda admits Melanie is a work in progress, but her grades, once D's and F's, are now C's and B's. She's also started volunteering to teach a dance class for grade school children, and her attitude has changed. Now, for the first time, she sees a future. She has a goal.
I want to be a beautician. I want to go to school for cosmetology. I want to open my own beauty shop.
Next year, Melanie heads to high school. Brenda will no longer be there, but she hopes what she taught Melanie will remain, maybe forever.
I hope that I've given enough, helped her have enough self-esteem and character that she'll be developing to a young lady that wants to strive and continue on towards her goals. I did reach a part of her to help her think that way, that makes her stronger as a person. Because she lives in a dangerous community.
We'll be right back. She's been rafting, skiing, surfing, deep-sea fishing, and rock climbing.
With rock climbing, the first time I went, I didn't reach the top. So I figured, well, I have to come back. I have to reach the top.
Heather Bandy is tough. She's an athlete, and she is blind. She was born that way.
I mean, I can't drive a car, but I can do just about anything else.
That's the second P, pervasive. Heather knows the hardship of blindness is limited. It doesn't have to affect every part of her life. She learned that when she was 7 and first tried to jump rope.
And that was very hard for her, and she'd come in and, I can't do this. And we'd send her out, you've got to practice.
It took 3 weeks, but finally she got 4 jumps, and then 5 in a row.
And she just came in the house and, Mom, come out and see me. Come out, I can do it now.
Mom was excited, and I was pretty proud. I was proud of myself.
Today, Heather's record is 144.
1, 2, 3.
But the real learning moment came at jump number 5.
It was just one of those moments when I realized that I could do what I wanted to if I worked hard at it.
She can't see, can't drive, can't describe a sunset or tell red from blue. But what she learned that day is there are a million other things she can do.
He had closed his eyes while the port key transported him, and he kept them closed now.
Experts say that's vital.
Make sure that the child or whoever, whatever age, develops some sense of competence, has a skill, a practical skill that carries over into life that makes him or her proud.
Decades of research have established 2 surprising facts. First, that experts believe children are naturally resilient, some more than others, of course, but every child is born able to overcome hardships and failure, to get up and then try and try again.
It's I think nature's great gift, because I think we're born with an inherent capacity to endure.
Second, researchers say kids can lose that natural hopefulness if they come to believe that problems they encounter are pervasive, affecting all parts of their life. Parents can stop that from happening.
Looking at your kid and finding out, observing them, paying close attention, what is it they like to do? What are their interests? What are their strengths? And they're different from child to child. And when you find out what is that interest they have, to give them every opportunity to develop it, to be good at something.
Know that you can be good at something, even if you are blind, even if you are poor, even if people say you're only a girl. According to the National Federation for the Blind, about 3/4 of working-age blind Americans are unemployed. Many are depressed, and some feel sorry for themselves, but not Heather.
I've tutored some of them, and they don't focus, they don't try, they don't want to do it. And I just was like, okay, I don't want to be blind. I don't want to be like this. I've always wanted to be successful.
When she was little, learning to jump rope, and still today, her parents taught her not to give up. Now she excels in music, sports, and academics.
Whenever she says I can't do something, Heather, remember the jump rope? You just got to keep doing it. You got to keep practicing and you'll get it. And she does that now. She really does.
I think.
Heather can dress herself, take notes in class, send email, pack a suitcase, and make a salad.
Don't cut an angle, come straight out. Okay, you got it. Now move your hand.
One day she wants to be an interpreter for the United Nations. Already she speaks fluent Spanish and is teaching herself Arabic and French at home.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
And yet, she is blind. She is disabled. Or is she?
I don't use that for blind people. I don't use disabled or handicapped or any of those terms, impaired, etc. I don't use those terms because they're not who I am and they're not what blind people can be.
We will be right back. Clive Aiden is from Watts, a poor, tough neighborhood in South Central Los Angeles.
Young black males and Latino males, you have to walk down the street in fear of your safety sometimes, watching your back, make sure nobody, trying to run up on you.
In his neighborhood, gangs, poverty, drugs, and despair. And in his life, divorce, and then silence.
Clive was 2 years old when I separated from his dad. Clive didn't talk. Whatever he wanted, he usually points to it.
For 6 months after the divorce, he didn't speak. Guadalupe also lives in South Central with her family in a crowded one-bedroom apartment. She walks 45 minutes each way to school and then babysits her little brothers and sister when she gets home. And all her life she's heard, "You're a girl. You'll never amount to much."
I make tough for her too, because sometimes, I feel guilty. Sorry.
Every time I wanted to do something, like I wrote a poem and I wanted him to be part of it. He was like, "What are you doing that for?" And it hurt because I wanted him to be there for me. But anyways, I did it.
2 kids from South Central. What are the odds that both would graduate with honors and be on their way to college? No one in their family has ever gone before. Yet Guadalupe has a full scholarship to the University of Wisconsin, and Clive is on his way to Morehouse, one of the premier black colleges in America. But they didn't do it by themselves. Dr. Mark Katz is a clinical psychologist who writes about nurturing resiliency in children. One of his books is called On Playing a Poor Hand Well.
It comes from a quote by Robert Louis Stevenson, who said, "Life is not so much a matter of holding good cards, but of playing a poor hand well."
He says there are dozens of reasons why some kids are more resilient than others, including genetic factors like intelligence, personality, and health. But there's a new field of research called positive psychology that explores how adults, especially parents, can control 3 critical words in a child's life. What changed Clive and Guadalupe's life the most may well have been the first P, permanence. 4 years ago, Clive joined a group called the Community Coalition. They took him on a reality tour of his own hometown and taught him to see new possibilities.
Just comparing South Central to, let's say, Beverly Hills, we have fast food places, they have dine-in restaurants. We have check cashing places, they have banks. We have liquor stores, they have grocery stores instead of liquor stores out there. Our schools are gated. Their schools are like open. I'm like, wow, I never knew, this really existed and stuff. I see it in the movies and stuff, but I never knew that, people really could live like this in real life.
That day, Clive says he saw a different future. For the first time in his life, he thought about going to college. The reality tour showed him that someday he could leave behind poverty, ignorance, drugs, and fear.
And it's life-altering almost. You can actually see, while students are on the tour, it's almost, it's comical, a cartoon where the little light bulb goes off. The light bulb comes up and you can see that they're processing it.
Guadalupe says her mom taught her that adversity doesn't have to be permanent, as long as you refuse to give up.
But my mom was back at me, don't give up, keep on going. Don't show them they're right. You can do better. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I won, and I won 3 medals.
First of all, I think I've always given her love, understanding. I was pushing her with her homework, supporting her, and if she said, I can't do that, I told her, yes, you can, yes, you can, yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Your goals are achievable. Your struggle is temporary. You can write your own future.
Sometimes I get mad, stressed, I can cry, I can see an obstacles and I feel like I cannot do it, but that will last for me one day the most. That day I'm waking up and I say, I gotta do this.
For me, it's not even a goal or a dream anymore, to live in a good life, the American dream. It's actually a duty for me now So I'm gonna be up there one day.
We'll be right back. 80, 90, 100 stories tall, skyscrapers are built to stand against storms and strong winds, to bend but not break. Experts say so are kids.
We think resilience is our nature. We think rather than fostering resilience, as a culture, we have to do more to preserve it.
For Melanie, it was a school counselor who helped her realize your neighborhood doesn't determine who you are or what your future will be. And that future gets better if you study hard and stay in school.
If it wasn't for her, I'll still be out here trying to fight girls. I'll probably be somewhere suspended. I'll probably be in a youth house somewhere if it wasn't for her.
The challenge for parents? To show kids that their problems are not permanent, pervasive, or personal.
So we have to provide you life experiences that show you, that teach you that bad things are temporary. There's a better day down the road. Bad things are not pervasive. Bad things are limited. They may be bad over here and we may not be able to control it, but you can control it over here, and that bad things aren't personal.
Misfortune doesn't have to last forever. Doesn't have to overpower every part of your life. And you didn't cause it. It's not your fault. Important lessons for every kid, rich and poor and in between. Because trouble can show up unpredictably in every child's life.
But when they have an alternative and they begin to hear people say to them, you really are better than this, you really can make it, they begin to grasp a hold of that hope.
It doesn't need to be a parent. At some point, everybody needs someone to motivate them and tell them you can do this.
Well, there are times when I almost feel like I do want to give up, but then that's when the other people that surround me, my friends, my family, just support me, and that's where I need their help.
The experts say most children are naturally strong and resilient, able to overcome adversity, able to fall down and then get back up again. They are born that way. In large measure, whether they stay that way is up to us.